Brighton was loved and still is loved by so many people. So many kiddos. And that's why I say I miss her love, because there's no love like your child's. And I have people surrounding me. I have a great support system. And most importantly, I have God. But outside of that, I'm lonely, or I feel alone. Even with this organization and me helping other people, at the end of the day, whenever I go back home after these events, after these interviews, I'm faced with the reality that I lost my daughter to fentanyl. I don't do drugs. I don't sell drugs. I don't hang out with drug dealers. And this tragedy happened to us, to our family. And it's heartbreaking. Brighton Hendron, she is now 5 years old. She turned 5 on January 26th of this year. She passed away last year on February the 26th due to fentanyl poisoning. Brighton was my only child. Brighton was my miracle baby. The doctors had told me prior to me being pregnant in 2018 to have an abortion with Brighton because she had a very rare diagnosis of Turner syndrome. And I told them no, that I was going to be her voice for her. And Brighton lived for 4 years, 4 beautiful years. She lived and laughed and loved and was a light to so many people. And here I am now being Brighton's voice for her. At the time of Brighton's death, I thought that her Turner syndrome was her cause of death. And I did not find out until 3 weeks later when I was given an autopsy report that her death was considered a homicide due to fentanyl poisoning. It was very heartbreaking, a punch in the gut. For 3 weeks, I was grieving over what I thought was a heart condition that caused the death of my child. And given this autopsy, I looked at it and I was like, what is this? And the detective said it's Brighton's autopsy report. And I don't know how to read an autopsy report. And I was like, what does it say? You know, what does it say? And the detective told me that it says that Brighton had fentanyl in her system and that was the cause of her death. And I completely lost it. I remember that day. I thought I was going to get Brighton's clothes. And I was blindsided by what was going to happen, what I was going to be told. And it changed everything for me. It changed the trajectory of my life, of the way I was going to grieve. And the way I viewed myself. I felt a lot of shame and fear and guilt because I was like, how did this happen? How did this happen? And I didn't have any answers, and I still don't have any answers. as to how exactly my daughter got fentanyl in her system, besides her being at my nephew's mom's home with the babysitter and finding out that they were trafficking fentanyl out of the house. 3 individuals were charged with manslaughter, second degree, trafficking fentanyl, 3 counts of wanton endangerment, and tampering with physical evidence. My nephew's mom's, she was charged with all those. The babysitter was charged with all those charges except for tampering with evidence. And the guy that they were trafficking for was charged with all those, including federal charges brought up on him due to importation from Detroit into Lexington, Kentucky. Right now, my nephew's mom and the babysitter are on house arrest. Like nothing's happened. The only person that is in jail is the guy that was importing over state lines fentanyl. And justice has yet to be served for Brighton. It has yet to be served for her. And we believe, the Commonwealth of Kentucky believes that it will be taken to a trial. And that is unfortunately all that I'm able to say about the case and pending charges with those individuals. Brighton's dad passed away in 2018. The Bright Light Foundation brings awareness also to gun violence. He was shot and killed in front of me. His father actually killed him on Father's Day in 2018. And I found out I was pregnant with Brighton the next day. The only reason why I found out I was pregnant was because he asked me that day. He was like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, I don't know. I didn't know. And so that next day, after all the chaos had happened, I went and took a pregnancy test and took another pregnancy test and took another pregnancy test. And I was like, oh my gosh, so I do feel like he knew that I was pregnant. A few weeks after my pregnancy test, obviously I went to the doctor, and that's when I was given all these diagnoses in the womb with Brighton, and them wanting me to terminate and having to go to the doctor almost every week due to me being high risk of her being stillborn. Brighton was born at UK Hospital, Children's Hospital, and stayed in the NICU for a little over a month. That was a very hard time in my life. I was not able to hold her, or at that point in time, I thought it was the hardest time of my life because I wasn't able to hold her for almost a week due to her being in an incubator and things with her oxygen and her heart and things like that. But Brighton blossomed. She beat all the odds that were put up against her. And it was because her mommy was her voice for her. And I remember being at the doctor one day, and I told the doctor, I said, you have your diagnosis because of your degree. But I have a God who knows what he's doing and the plans that he has for me and my daughter. And I chose to have Brighton, not knowing that I will lose her 4 years later. Brighton was funny. She gave the best hugs and the sweetest kisses, and She loved traveling just like her mommy. We went to the beach and the aquariums and the zoos and all the things. For me to be a single mom, Brighton was given a beautiful life. She went to private school. She had the best therapist, occupational, physical therapist. She went to the best daycare here in the state of Kentucky that was actually considered a medical facility to get the help that she needed to grow and blossom into the beautiful, beautiful child she was. And she still is. And I know that she's in heaven, and I know she's watching over me. But my heart aches every day. And there's not a minute nor second that passes by that I don't think about her. I miss her all the time. I miss her love. Because she loved her mom. And for her birthday this year, I did 5 days of Brighton. And each day consisted of something differently. I would paint. I made these floral arrangements for her. I got her birthday cake. I went to her daycare, and all of her classmates wrote me these cards about Brighton, and they wrote their favorite memories in this jar about Brighton. And one of those memories that they put was that she always talked about her mommy and how she always was saying she loves her mommy and she wants her mommy. And every day she would tell them it was my birthday. Even though it wasn't. She wanted to celebrate her mommy. The Bible verse that I have for my organization is Genesis 50:20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, for what is now being done, the saving of many lives. And though I couldn't save my daughter's life, I want to save as many lives as possible through the Bright Light Foundation, however that may look. The Bright Light Foundation has given back to the community, has hosted events, has met with Congressman Andy Barr, has hosted community against drug dealer rallies, has done so many things to bring awareness to fentanyl poisoning. Also, the Bright Light Foundation helps other people who are grieving the loss of a loved one, whether it be to gun violence or fentanyl or any other tragedy that has happened to them in their life. The Bright Light Foundation also includes Brighton Honors Book Club because Brighton loved reading. And Brighton Honors Book Club is to help families get closer together by reading to their child or children. The Bright Light Foundation's book club includes a tote bag customized that says Brighton Honors Book Club with Minnie Mouse on it. She loved Minnie Mouse. And it includes a stuffed animal, books, and love from my mama heart. Because I had to fight for my life after my daughter passed away. I had to have a reason to look forward to something, to feel like what I've been through and what I'm still continuing to go through is not wasted. And my daughter's death will not be in vain. And I say that I had to fight for my life after Brighton's passing because I was very suicidal. I felt like I had no purpose here anymore. I did not want to be here anymore. And there are still days in my life where I am questioning my purpose and what I'm doing. And I read a quote somewhere that said, everything that you're going through is going to be someone else's survival guide. And so if God can bring me up from the ashes of the death of my child and the death of her father, and be standing here today to be a light to someone else, then and change someone else's life, whether it be one person's life, I feel like then I serve my purpose here.